Today will be a day to remember for the rest of your life. The Pro Football Hall of Fame is excited to present the Heart of a Hall of Famer program connected by Extreme Networks. With over 100 Hall of Famers participating, we have reached 47 states and countries all over the world, sharing the message that football is more than a game and can teach Americans important life values like commitment, integrity, courage, respect, and honesty.
You have to make right decisions even when nobody's watching you.
Well, respect is not just given out. It's not handed out like a brochure. It's earned.
Today, you are presented with an opportunity to meet and learn from one of the greatest football players of all time. But more important than that, the chance to see that their Hall of Fame life wasn't given to them. They didn't roll out the bed great. They put the work in, on the field, in the weight room, in the classroom, in their communities. They made themselves a Hall of Famer on and off the field.
Your feet can't take you where your mind's never been.
Because you can make it, but it's just gonna take a little hard work and some effort and the drive and determination.
And today, you will learn you can do the same thing they did. You don't have to have a gold jacket or a bronze bust to make a difference in the lives of others. It's your decision whether you want to be a successful student, son, daughter, brother, or sister.
If attitudes are contagious, is your attitude worth catching?
It's integrity as well, because when you decide to pursue something and you don't quit, that says a lot about you.
Commitment to excellence. We can all aspire to be the best.
Welcome to a once-in-a-lifetime program, the Heart of a Hall of Famer program, connected by Extreme Networks.
You know, there were times I remember I had to fight just to hold my head up. Those times when even my friends tried to make a fool of me. There were things that my heart would attack that they just couldn't see. Some said I was hopeless, a mind tangled in the night. But guess what? Strong hearts just keep going. And that's why I'm standing here tonight at the steps of the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
All right, with that, I'd like to welcome everybody here to the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio, for another installment of the Pro Football Hall of Fame's Heart of a Hall of Famer series connected by Extreme Networks. Our mission here at the Pro Football Hall of Fame is to honor the greatest of the game, to preserve its history, to promote its values, and to celebrate excellence together. All of which made our 382 Hall of Famers the best football players, minds, contributors, coaches of all time, but also made them great people, can make you great students, makes me a great employee, makes your teachers great teachers. These values go so far, not only on the football field, but off the field as well. My name is Jake Ray. I'm the Communications and Content Manager here at the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and I am honored to have the opportunity to speak in front of all of you, but to eventually speak with our special guest here today. Before we get started, I do have some thank yous I'd like to pass out. First and foremost, I want to thank our great partners at Extreme Networks. You see their logo on all the graphics here. They do so much for us at the Pro Football Hall of Fame and make this opportunity possible for all of the students here today, as well as all the students who are going to watch this on YouTube down the road. Plus, we do this program all over the country as well. So without their support, this could not happen. So we want to thank Extreme Networks for supporting us. Secondly, I'd like to thank all of the teachers and administrators who are here today for allowing your students to leave the classroom and come here today to learn a little bit about the Pro Football Hall of Fame, learn a little bit about our Hall of Famers and what it means to them to be a member here in Canton, Ohio. And then lastly, I'd like to thank our students. You know, without you guys here today, you know, this is just me sitting on a stage talking to a Hall of Famer, so it's way more than that. And we have some students who were pre-selected here earlier today to ask some questions, so we're super excited to hear from them. We have a lot of awesome schools represented today. I'm just going to list them off here real quick. We've got North Royalton High School, McDonald High School, Safe House Prep, Parkersburg High School, Warren JFK, Newton Falls High School, Mogador Junior Senior High, as well as Garfield High School. So we want to thank all of you guys for coming here today. Throughout the program today, we will be taking questions not only from me, but the students who have been pre-selected in the back of the room. Each of them have a card. Students, when I tell you to, you're going to be handed a microphone. Go ahead and step up, state your name, the school you go to, and then go ahead and ask your question. Return the microphone, and then you can go ahead and have a seat, and Mr. Pearson will answer those questions for you today. If you do have a question and you don't have a card, we kindly ask if you guys do want to ask a question, please, exit on the sides. Find somebody with a Hall of Fame logo, polo, T-shirt, quarter zip on. Tell them what your question is, and then we'll see if we can make that part of the program. But no matter where you're watching, obviously, though, we want you guys to pay attention here today. So if we can silence all cell phones, keep those away here this morning, that would be great. Though after the program, as you're touring today, and you're taking pictures, sharing them on social media, make sure you tag at Pro Football HOF and at Extreme Networks and use the hashtag HOF values, and who knows, your post just might be reshared today. So that's enough of me talking. You guys didn't come here to hear me talk at all. I am proud to welcome a man with 7,822 receiving yards, a 3-time Pro Bowler, played 11 seasons in the National Football League, scored 48 touchdowns, but most importantly, he's a Hall of Famer. Let's welcome Hall of Famer Drew Pearson.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Welcome. Let me hear everybody say, hut, hut. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Let's make it good. 1, 2, 3. That's what I'm talking about. Now I'm ready.
Man, if that don't get the juices flowing, I don't know what does. So, Drew, we want to welcome you back to your second home here in Canton, Ohio. We're always super excited, and we'll explain a little bit as we get into the program why you're here, some of the things you're going to be doing throughout the entire weekend. But we always like to start out, this is a program, a character education program, so we always like to start out and talk about those 5 values: commitment, integrity, courage, respect, and honesty. Throughout your career, was there one of those that stuck out more to you that made an impact on your life, or was it kind of like all 5 kind of worked together to make you the best athlete, football player you could be?
Well, they all 5 work together, but it all starts with a commitment. Once you make a commitment to something, then now you have an opportunity to achieve something, all right? The good Lord blesses us all with a talent to do something, whether it's to be a doctor, a lawyer, technician, mortician. We don't want that. But you got to realize what your talent is, and then you cultivate that talent. But you have to have a commitment to make that all work together for you, all right? Your commitment, not your dad's commitment, not your mom's, your brother's or sister's. It's your commitment, because you're the one that has to be motivated to make that commitment work for you. Turn that commitment into success, all right? That's what it's all about. When I came to the Dallas Cowboys, I was an undrafted free agent, but I wanted it bad. You know why I wanted it? Because I made a commitment that I wanted to be a pro football player, and they were giving me an opportunity. So I wanted to take advantage of that commitment and that opportunity to reach the level of success that I was trying to achieve. And we all are different. I know that brother right there. Stand up. Right, you. I know you ain't gonna be no wide receiver, all right? Right? But you're gonna be something good at something, right? And that's what it's all about. You find out what that is and you make it work for you, all right? Good job. Give him a hand, y'all. All right. Hut, hut. Hut, hut. Don't go to sleep on me. They don't ever say hut, hut on defense, do they? On offense, what does hut, hut mean? We're going, right? So every time you get up in the morning, your feet hit the ground, you say hut, hut, okay? And now you'll be motivated to face that day and the challenges of that day.
My morning routine just got a little bit different after that, so I'm going to try that tomorrow, see how that is.
Yeah, hut, hut. I go around my house all the time going hut, hut. The kids think I'm crazy and all that, but they know what it's all about. Hut, hut. All right.
All right, we're going to throw it back to our student now for our first student question. So just as we said, go ahead and stand up, state your name, the school you go to, and then go ahead with your question.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Stephen Thomas, and I go to Warren JFK. Question for you today is, how do you take the lessons you learned playing football and apply them to life?
So how do you take those lessons that we just talked about, those values that you learned from the game of football, and then apply them to your everyday life off the field?
Yeah, that's a great question, because the values that the game brings are the same values that you have to deal with in life. Again, the commitment and the sacrifice and being prepared and all that kind of stuff. So all the things I learned through sports, you translate into life, you know? In my life after football, I had to regroup. You know, you can't play football forever. I wish I could. Phillip Rivers just signed, 44 years old. I got a shot. Oh, God. That muscle. But anyway, what was the question?
Those values that we
The values, yeah. The game provides that, you know. That's why I encourage kids not just to play the game, but be involved some kind of way in the game or in sports, because sports provides that kind of opportunity to reach a level of success that you might be trying to achieve. And so you got to be able to prepare yourself and be ready for that. Good question, buddy.
So I want to take that and flip it.
Yeah.
So you grow up, you have mentors, you know, people who you look up to. You get in the NFL. Those veterans that kind of mentor you along throughout your career. Were there lessons you learned outside the game of football that helped you on the field? So kind of just flipped. You know, we talk about how you use football to help you in life, but how did you use your life lessons to help you become a better football player?
Well, the life lessons I learned was in my household, all right? My dad and my mom taught me the life lessons and got me prepared. You know, you hear this no pass, no play. We had that back in my household in 1969, all right? My dad said, you don't pass this course or get the right grades, you don't play. So we had that in our house. But you have to have that development early in your life. And then when you have that, it's ingrained in you. And you use that kind of stuff to succeed and to take the next step in your life. Life is about taking steps, you know? You know, you're here now, you think about where you've come from. Oh, the Cowboy fan, I'm sorry, stand up, please. I just so happened to see one Cowboy fan. I lost track. Give her a hand. Hut, hut! All right, thank you. All right, sit down now. All right, what was I talking about?
What you learned in your life to help you become a better football player.
Yeah, you know, just being around the family atmosphere, sharing. And, you know, I grew up with, there were 7 kids growing up, so you had to learn how to make sacrifices. You had to learn how to share and things like that. And those are the values I learned as a kid. I learned that education was very important. You can be anything if you are educated, and you use the tools of education to help cultivate yourself and your dream and the things that you're trying to achieve. So all those things that you do in life that you have to do on a daily basis, a routine type thing, those are the things that you have to do in life when you step out away from college and you're out there in the real world doing your own thing. It's that routine you find yourself into that motivates you to continue day in and day out. Football is tough. You have to be motivated some kind of way every day to want to go out there and play and get hit, you know, and get hit and knocked down and get up and get hit and get knocked down and get up and act like you're really having a good time doing this, right? No, but it's the sacrifices you made, it's the things you did along the way that made you tough to handle that kind of situation. There's a new thing going around called mental toughness, all right? You got to be mentally tough to achieve anything, because along the way of trying to achieve your goal, you're going to run into obstacles. You're going to run into adversity. And what you need to do with those obstacles and those challenges and adversity, you use them as stepping stones to step on to bigger and greater things. And that's what you do. You know, you don't let the negative bring you down. You learn from the negative and use that to elevate you to the next level. Amen? Hut, hut! Yeah, I'm getting hot up. I'm starting to preach now.
Yeah. Along the same lines, you know, obviously we have a lot of high school students in front of us here who are, you know, going through their own struggles, you know, trying to, you know, figure out what they want to do in college. But they're all juggling that pressure plus sports, plus academics, plus a life outside of school. What habits did you have that helped you stay focused, you know, along in the midst of all these different things you're having to juggle, whether it be in high school, college, when you have to go to school, or in the pros when you have a life outside the game and, you know, other obligations that you have to keep track of?
Yeah, that's easy to answer. It's all about discipline. If you have discipline in your life, then you're going to do the right things. It's about discipline, you know? You can't be doing things that aren't beneficial to you in your life, all right? Because you think now, I'm young, I'm not going to be 30 years, 40 years, what am I going to be doing, you know? But a lot of things that you do now going to predicate what you do later in your life, in your future. And you have to develop that future on your own, and you got to develop that by creating the right things to do now, all right? Don't wait till you're 15, 20, 30 years old to start doing the right things. You start doing the right things now, that'll catapult you into the success in each and every step of your life. Using that adversity, using that challenges to step on the bigger things. When I didn't get drafted in the NFL, you know, I was an undrafted free agent. That's back when they had 452 players they drafted that year. 17 rounds of the draft, you know? And they were telling me I wasn't good enough. You know, how did they know? All right? And you know what I did? That negative, I use it as a motivation. I use it as motivation to try to tell them, you don't know me. You don't know what's inside of me. You don't know what motivates me. And every time I took a lap to warm up, you know, in training camp, I thought about that day I didn't get drafted and how bad I felt, you know? And I use that as motivation. So what you got to do is find something that sparks you in your life to motivate you to achieve the success that you want to achieve. They motivated me by telling me I wasn't good enough, all right? And I wanted to prove to each and every one of them that I was. And every time I ran a lap, every practice, every meeting, every opportunity in games, I showed that I wanted to belong, or that I could belong, that you didn't know me well enough to dictate me that I can't do this, okay? When they said you weren't going to get enough to be drafted and sign as a free agent with a $150 signing bonus, yeah, you think that's funny, huh? I got my signing bonus with the Dallas Cowboys in cash. I got 7 20s and a 10. Is that $150? Yeah, and after taxes, it was $75. But you got to find something to motivate you, and that's what I did. And that's why it motivated me through 11 years in the NFL, that feeling that I had with somebody telling me I can't do something. You can't let nobody bring you down. If you're going to go down, bring yourself down. Don't let other people tell you you can't do something. Use that as motivation to prove them wrong. And I did that for 11 years in the NFL. And I would have done it longer if they would have let me play. All
right, we're going to go back for another question from one of our students.
I see the Steelers in the house. Yes, sir. Yeah, why don't you leave?
So go ahead.
Hey, if it wasn't for you guys, I'd have 2 more of these. You know that, right?
Go ahead and say
Super Bowl ring, in case y'all have never seen one up here. And this is the Hall ring. How's that? That's pretty cool, huh? That's immortality. You know, you try to establish something in your life that you can refer to for the rest of your life. And people that come behind you can see the legacy that you're trying to leave them. And I'm trying to leave my kids, my family, a legacy. And the Hall of Fame helps me do that by enshrining me here. This is immortality. I'm here all the time. I talk to the bus, everything. I pay taxes here in Canada. I got a condo here in Canada, you know? But it's that Hall of Fame that makes it all exciting and makes it all worthwhile when you get to this level. And you think of all the sacrifices you made, you know, along the way. And you reach that goal, that achievement. And sometimes you got a goal you're trying to achieve. Yeah, if I didn't make it to the Hall of Fame, it didn't mean that I didn't have a good career. I still had a good career. You heard of the Hail Mary? Who caught the first Hail Mary? Duh, you know? So I had a good career, but I was able to top it off by going to the highest level, the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And that's what you want to try to do, set a legacy, not just for yourself, but the people that come behind you, that follow you. You know, you got you young children, you have brothers and sisters. They look up to you, all right? You want to create something that they can look up to and try to achieve themselves. And that's what I try to do with me, my family, and everything I try to do. Hut, hut! I can't hear you. Oh, man, you sound like you're on defense.
All right, got another question. We got another question in the back, so go ahead and state your name, the school you go to, and then go ahead and ask your question.
My name is Andrea Ryan, I'm also from Warren JFK. And my question is, what was one moment in your life when your character was tested, and how did you get through that?
So your character is tested sometime in your life. What was it like, your character is being tested? What is it like to go through that, and how did you, end up fighting through that adversity when your character was tested?
Well, unfortunately, my character was tested when I got involved, trying to get into the NFL and all that. But once I got there and I played 11 seasons, my career ended because I was in a car accident. And in that accident, I lost my brother, my younger brother, and I was driving. Now that's being tested, right? You start questioning everything, Is God here? Is he supporting, how come he took my brother? How can he take me, So my character was tested then like none other. And so I had to get it together. And now, since the Lord spared me, now I got to do the right thing, okay, through my character. And so that's what I try to do. I try to take advantage of the opportunity of life that he gave me. And with that is a test of character, all right? Coming into the NFL, test of character. I went from South River, New Jersey to Tulsa, Oklahoma, all right? Another test of character, all right? They laughed at everything I did, everything I said, the way I dressed. They put salt and pepper on this and that. They were testing my character. And I had to go through that to show that I belong. But every step of the way, you're going to be tested. And it's your character, the strength of your character, that's going to carry you through all that. And that's what it's all about. Hood, hood! All right.
Talk about going to the University of Tulsa. How did that experience, both academically and on the football field, help prepare you for your 11-year NFL career, but then life after that, business ventures and things like that?
Yeah. Well, first of all, going from South River to Tulsa, Oklahoma, and you're on your own pretty much, and now you got to become a man, all right? You got to take this as responsibilities and do things on your own. You got to make sure you go to class. You make sure you're at practice. You make sure you do the things necessary to prepare to be a college football player and all that kind of stuff. But you got to be able to take that step and be ready to go to the next step as you prepare going through that step. And I try to, through the college experience, gain as much knowledge as I can to use in my life. If I didn't make the Dallas Cowboys or the NFL, I would have been okay because I had an education. I had a college degree. I got my college degree in 4 years. I'm more proud of that than anything, all right? Because as soon as I open my mouth to speak, you're going to know if I'm educated or not. So education is really important. So it's all about that.
All right, we're going to go back to the back for another question here. So go ahead and stand up, state your name, the school you go to, and then go ahead with your question.
Good morning, Mr. Pearson. My name is Alfonso Valdez. I go to Parkersburg High School in West Virginia.
Right on.
I wanted to ask, how important was your support system through your life, whether it be family, mentors, coaches? How important was that to you throughout your life and your career?
How important was your support system, mentors, family members, that helped you get through those tough times you experienced in your life?
Absolutely. That's what you fall back on. The family, the ones that really care about you. You got a lot of people in your life. You make the Dallas Cowboys, their success is relative. The more success, the more relatives, okay? All right? You make the Cowboys. So you got to have family support, and you try to develop that within your family because that's real, all right? When people are, after you achieve success, now they want to be your buddy, all right? And that's not real. All right, your family is the one that's real, the one that supported you through it all, the ones that know about your trials and tribulations and things that you've gone through to get to where you are. And they have been your support system. They're your motivator. They're your encourager. All these things, that it's your family support that gives you the confidence that you can go out and achieve things. And the family support has to be there, all right? I was blessed that I had that support, you know? Like I said, I had no pass, no play in my household. If I brought a C home, a C, you see? That's average. That wasn't good enough for my dad, you know? And so that kind of motivates you to want to be the best. C wasn't good enough. Average is not good enough. So let's get some B's and A's, which I never did. Hood. No, I'm only kidding. I had my share in phys ed.
That's important.
That's important.
It helped, obviously.
Hey,
yeah.
you know, that was my thing. You know, you got to find out what your talent is, you know, what you think you can cultivate and use in your, not just through high school and college, where you use the tools of education to help develop that talent, but then after you get out into the real world and you continue to develop that talent and you use that talent to have success in your life. And next thing you know, you got a family, you got a job and all these things. And now it's the things that you learned along the way that you have strength to go through that now that you're an adult. All right? Wake up, Steeler fan. I see you. Hood.
All right, we're going to go back for another student question. Go ahead and stand up, state your name, the school you go to, and then go ahead with your question.
Hello, my name is Ben. I go to high school, and I want to ask, what was your welcome to the NFL moment?
What is your welcome to the NFL moment? That moment when you go back in the Rolodex of memories and you just realize, all right, this is a little bit different than the University of Tulsa.
First time I got hit by a pro. That was like, you either got to get it together or you got to get out of here, you know? And because it's a different level, all right? When you go into the NFL, these guys are serious. You know, you're playing against men. You know, when I came in as a rookie, I had guys in my locker room 30 years old, 35 years old. They had kids as old as me, you know? So, you know, it's a level that you have to be associated with.
Can you remember, is there a moment where you run out to the field, you're warming up pregame, and you're seeing somebody else on the other sideline warm up, and you there's just a split second of starstruck, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that person, or you walk out and a DB lines up across from you.
No.
Was there a moment in your career that...
No, I was not impressed with anybody out there. I'm out there. I'm the impressed. They worrying about me. But there's one guy that I did fear. I didn't fear him, but I respected him. Let me put it that way. Played for the Steelers. You know who I'm talking about. Mel Blount. Yes, sir. Mel Blount. And Hud. So anyway, we played him twice in Super Bowls. And so you heard about this guy, Mel Blount, 6'4", 205, ran a 4.5 40. So first thing you want to do when you come out for pregame warm-up is find out where this Mel Blount is, all right? And you want to first to see, wow, he is that big. And second of all, you want to see what you got to do to try to get past this guy, Mel Blount. So you have to recognize that. But I recognize that, and I try to prepare for that. And I knew going in that I had to have a certain level of my game to beat a guy like Mel Blount. And I respected him that much. And in that game, 2 games we played against him, I didn't catch many passes because if I catch anything, it was on the other side. But that's the only guy I really respected like that. I played high school football with Joe Theismann, who played for the Washington Redskins quarterback, you know. So I'm not impressed with him. I knew him as a kid growing up and all that kind of stuff. But when I went out on the field, I wanted other guys to think about me, how they're going to deal with me today. I'm not worrying about you. I'm prepared. I'm confident that I have my preparation all week long has prepared me to face this challenge I'm facing today in this game. If it's Mel Blount or anybody, I'm prepared for that. So that's what you got to do. You got to be prepared going in, and that gives you the confidence that you can beat him. And I want him to be worried about me as much as maybe I'm worried about him, because we go into battle today, and that's what it's all about. And we're going to see at the end of the day who's going to come out on top, who's going to be victorious. And you achieve everything through 4 quarters of a football game to try to be up top, to try to have that last word. But sometimes you don't have that. But it doesn't mean you're a failure. You know, if you do things along the way, the right way, you know, it doesn't always work out the right way. But that doesn't mean you're a failure. You use that as motivation for the next time you get out there and try to go up against Mel Blount.
So I love that you brought that up. You talked about, you know, respecting somebody of that level in the NFL. And, you know, Mel's a great example because now you're both on the same team here at the Hall of Fame. And I love talking about this idea of respect because, you know, you always respect the guy on the other side, the other sidelines. But then you get here and now you're on the same team. You know, for those of you that don't know, every August we do our annual enshrinement ceremony, and guys like Drew and over 100 other Hall of Famers come back here every year to celebrate the new class. And part of that celebration is what's called the Ray Nitschke Luncheon. And that luncheon is only for Hall of Famers wearing that jacket.
Yeah.
So you go into this luncheon, no staff members, no cameras, it's just Hall of Famers. When you walk into that room, what is that level of respect like? And is that something you enjoy going into every year? Do you find new guys to talk to? Do you sit at the same table with the same group of wide receivers? What is that level of respect like in that room?
That's, you know, through all the enshrinement weekend, induction and everything, that's the best part, the Hall of Fame luncheon, because it's just us, Hall of Famers. And some of us walk in there, we all beat up and everything, and we got a lot of pride. But when we're around each other, it's okay, because we're all in the same boat. But that Hall of Fame luncheon, to me, the first time I did it, you know, they sit us in teams, and I'm sitting with the Cowboys, all the Cowboy Hall of Famers. We got quite a few, I'm just saying. But then I tapped Tony Dorsett on his arm. I said, Tony, look at all those Pittsburgh Steelers Hall of Famers over there. I said, no wonder we couldn't beat those guys. But it's the respect. I remember one moment, the late great Jim Brown came into the room. We're all in a Hall of Fame luncheon, eating lunch, the guys speaking, getting up and speaking and all that, what the Hall of Fame means to them. The new class gets an opportunity to speak and talk about what the Hall of Fame now means to them. And we're all having fellowship and all this, and bam, the ballroom doors fly open. And in comes Jim Brown. Yeah. Jim Brown. And you know, he's, at that point, he was a little beat up and a little older, and he's on a walker. But he's Jim Brown, all right? He ain't walking like this. He's Jim Brown coming in that room like that, like Jim Brown used to do with the Cleveland Browns, you know, when he ran that football. And we all got up as Hall of Famers, and we all just give this guy a standing ovation for about 20 minutes, just announcing and exalting Jim Brown. But it's that feeling, you know, of being all together as Hall of Famers and showing that respect to other Hall of Famers. And that's what it's all about. But the Hall of Fame luncheon is the one. And each Hall of Famer, not everybody, but the ones that they'll allow to have an opportunity, they get up and speak about their experience. And then they tell the new guys coming in what it's going to be like now that you're a Pro Football Hall of Famer. I'm in 8 other Hall of Fames, okay? From Pop Warner football, South River High School, Tulsa, all that. But no respect I get until I got into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. The respect, the level of respect that you get, you know, I walk, sir, you know, and all this kind of stuff. People stand up when you walk in the room and everything because you're a Hall of Famer, you know? And then when you're around those guys, I waited 38 years to get in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. But through that whole process, I never criticized the guys that were going in. All I said, maybe if they're going in, maybe they're Hall of Famer, but if they are one, maybe I am one too, and maybe my day will come. But you never criticize the process. You never criticize the guys that might go in before you, because one day you're going to be in that Hall of Fame luncheon around these same guys. And you don't want to be in there, walking in there after you criticize them, wondering how he got in and I didn't get in and all that kind of stuff. So you just wait your turn. You be patient. This is the Pro Football Hall of Fame. You wait your turn, all right? As a kid growing up, I never dreamt of being a Hall of Famer. I just wanted to be a pro athlete. Baseball was my favorite sport. Football I loved and played. I played basketball, but I just wanted to be a pro athlete. And here I am, I'm having a chance to be this pro athlete, but not just a pro athlete, at the upper echelon of being a pro athlete. The Hall of Fame with all these other guys, you know, guys I competed with, guys I knew growing up, watching and playing. Wish I could be like them. Now I'm with them. Wow, what an experience. What an experience. I didn't even eat. I was so excited. I don't even know what we had. I don't know, a burger, I don't know. Smash burger, whatever. You guys good? Where's the quarterbacks in the room? Any quarterbacks? No? All right. All right, we got one? All right, I'll run a route for you later.
I know we got another question in the back.
I love me some quarterbacks.
Our next student, go ahead and step up, state your name, your school, and then go ahead with your question.
I'm Dom Sampson from McDonald, and my question is, every Hall of Famer receives a ring of excellence, a gold jacket, and a bronze bust, symbols of football and mortality. What does receiving those honors mean to you personally?
So receiving, you got the K. Jewelers Ring of Excellence there on your left hand. You got the Haggard Gold Jacket you just showed off to everybody before the last question. And then you got the bronze bust here as well.
Oh, that's me.
That is you, yeah, yeah.
What's the question?
What do those three things mean to you? And symbolizes football immortality, symbolizes you're a Hall of Famer. You know, you get to unveil the bust in front of fans and friends and family. You get the gold jacket in front of all the other Hall of Famers, and you get that ring in front of your fans in the stadium. What did it mean for you to get all three of those items and, quote unquote, officially become a Hall of Famer?
Well, that's exactly what it is. You're officially a Hall of Famer. Try to get this jacket off me. Good luck, all right? Good luck. Try to take this ring off me. Good luck, all right? But now I'm in. You ain't getting it, okay? But no, these are the three things that really identify you as a Hall of Famer, all right? You go through the gold jacket ceremony. Well, first of all, you get your bust made, all right? How cool is this, all right? This is the biggest afro in the Hall of Fame, all right? And, when I play... Yeah, it's in the Hall of Fame. I donated it. But, when I played, I used to pride myself on having the biggest afro in NFL history. I had the hair coming out the back of the helmet. So when they did this bust, I wanted to have an afro. I wanted it bigger, all right? He said, Drew, we can't make it bigger because we have to have room for the other bust. So in this meeting, if you don't learn anything else, if somebody asks you how big is Drew Pearson's afro in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, you tell them it's 14 inches, all right? 14 inches. But anyway, this symbolizes this. This is a legacy. When my kids, grandkids, and their kids and everybody come, this will be there. This will be in the Hall of Fame. And then, you got your gold jacket. I ain't paid for nothing. Every time I wear this into the restaurant, come on right in, Mr. Pearson. I don't pay for no drinks. I don't drink. I drink water. Hood. And, you just level of respect. And then you meet the fans and you show them that ring. Oh, my God. You show them that. Oh, that's nice. But whoa. You show them that. They really get excited. So those are the three things that really identify you as a Hall of Famer. And so I can't carry this bus around. I try. So they won't let me have an extra seat on the airplane. But I can wear this jacket and I can wear this ring. And those are symbols of being a Hall of Famer and symbols of accomplishment, something that I accomplished to get to this level. And overcoming all the odds and obstacles and negative thoughts and things that people were saying about you. And now you go back and say, hey, how do you like me now? How do you like me now? You show them all this stuff. You're the one that told me I wouldn't make. I had a 10th grade English teacher, Miss Gracie Dunn. She taught English literature. I'm a brother from South River. I didn't know no English lit, So I had trouble in that class. And she said, you'll never pass this class. I said, yeah, okay. She said, if you pass this class, you'll never go to college. She said, if you go to college, you'll never graduate. And if you graduate, you'll never find a good job. You know what? I told Miss Dunn, I said, personally, I use that as motivation. I ended up passing her class. I ended up going to college. I ended up getting that college degree. And I went back to see Miss Gracie Dunn. You know, I said, Miss Gracie Dunn, you remember you told me I wouldn't pass your class? If I did pass, I wouldn't go to college. If I did go to college, I wouldn't graduate. I went in my pocket and pulled out that diploma. I said, Miss Dunn, how do you like me now? How do you like me now? And you use that as motivation. I use that as motivation. How could she tell me at that young age what I couldn't do, what I couldn't achieve? How could she do that? Maybe she was doing it on purpose. Maybe she was using that as a tool to motivate me. And if I missed that, then that's on me. But I used it whether she was using it purposely or not. But I used it purposely for me, to motivate me to come through, not just to go play pro football, but to get that education. Because again, as soon as I open my mouth to speak, you'll know if I'm educated or not. The most important thing I have is not this or that. It's my college degree, my education. That's the foundation of all this, okay? And that's what you got to have, all right? God bless you, and I love you, man. No video on that, okay?
So
that might go viral.
Obviously, you're back here in Canton. We always say it's your second home here, and forever will be here at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. But Drew is here for everybody in the room today for our residency program. So Drew's going to be here for a couple days, doing some stuff here at the Hall of Fame, going out in the community, visiting some nonprofits, safety forces, and other things, kind of giving back to this other community that we call home, or that you guys will call home here, all of our Hall of Famers.
Our home.
What's it mean for you to come back and walk through those front doors as a member of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and then to go a step further to be involved with students from the community, doing everything that you're going to be doing here this weekend?
Well, it means a lot, It means I go straight to my bus, make sure it's still there. Hood, hood. But you see all the other busts, and it's about respect, You're a Hall of Famer. And I'm just glad that the Hall of Fame committee, organization opens up the Hall of Fame and lets people come in and see and be part of this. Because it's all you fans and stuff that make us what we are, all right? We can't be Hall of Famers if we don't play in front of people like you. And so when I go into that hall, I just feel a level of respect. And I'm excited when people want to come through and hear the stories about this guy or that guy and how you got into the Hall of Fame and things like that. So I just appreciate the way the Pro Football Hall of Fame does it, okay? There's all respect to the other Hall of Fames. There's no more respected Hall of Fame than the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And it's a lot of it is because the players that have come through, of course, and the success they've had, but the way the Hall of Fame does it, the way that museum is set up over there. Now, I'll go over there late at night while y'all are sleeping. I'm going to be talking to the bust, okay? We talk to each other, all right? We don't whisper. We talk loud, We're proud of each other. And that's the aura, the atmosphere of the museum. And this baby's going to be here. And it's more immortality. When my kids come through here, they'll see that. When their kids come through here, they'll see that. When their kids come through, they'll see that. And that's what it's all about. And I'm proud to be a part of this. And when I think about those days as a kid growing up, maybe your age, I never thought I'd get to this level. I never thought I'd get to this level. But it's a step along the way that you get here. You don't go from here to there, all right? It's a process. You got to make sacrifices. You got to make commitments. You got to do the right things to make this happen, And this is just the top level of achievement in this business that I'm in, football, There's other top levels of achievement, whatever. As a musician, doctor, lawyer, there's top levels of achievement that you try to achieve in your life, whatever you want to be, whatever good Lord blessed you with the talent that you might have. And you all got a talent. You just got to find it. You know, my talent was running pass routes and catching the football. I could catch anything. Shoot, I'll catch you. You don't even smile. Look at him. All right.
All right, we got time for a few more questions. We're going to take one more question from our students in the back. So our last student, go ahead and state your name, the school you go to, and then go ahead with your question.
My name is Marco. I go to Falls High School, and my question to you is, when did you know that you had to walk away from the game?
So you mentioned a little earlier you're in that bad car accident, and
Yeah.
was that just kind of the writing on the wall? You're like, all right, it's time to end this, or was there a thought of maybe I'll try to come back and play?
Oh, after that, yeah. No, that ended my career. I had been negotiating a new contract, another 3-year contract. I expected to play another 3 or 4 years, because back then we were playing that long. Too Tall Jones, you heard of him? He played 15 years. Randy White, 14 years. You guys played. I played 11 years, despite it ending suddenly. But you go through something like that, and you try to get through it the best you can. What was the question? I'm sorry.
Knowing the walk away, and you call it a career.
Yeah, well, that's the hardest part about being a pro athlete. You don't want to give that up, but I was forced to give it up. And I like I said, I was going to play another 3 or 4 years, but it didn't work out that way. So you just be thankful that what you were able to achieve, what you were able to accomplish, and hopefully that's good enough to one day be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And fortunately for me, it was. I think I would have got in earlier if I played another 3 or 4 years and had more catches and your yardage and or TDs and stuff like that to make your stats look better. But when you look at my statistics, don't look at the quantity. Look at the quality, okay? Look at the quality. The game-winning catches, Hail Marys. That ain't the only Hail Mary I caught in my 11 years with the Cowboys, all right? You look at the quality of your statistics. You know what I averaged per catch? 489 catches. I averaged 16 yards a catch. Every time I caught the ball, it was what? First down, 16 yards a catch. So it's not the quantity of stats, it's the quality of what you were able to achieve with your statistics going through. 16 yards a catch. If I had that now, I'd be a millionaire. You know what Dak Prescott makes this year? $60 million. You know what he made last year? $59 million. My first year's salary was $14.5. My last year's salary after 11 years being all decade, all pro and everything was $225. But we knew the money was there, but we just had to fight to get it. And in 1982, we went on strike. I lost 5 games off my career to make that sacrifice so that we can get a bigger share of the revenue that was being generated by who? By us, the players. And we fought 5 games. In the middle of October, we stopped playing pro football. And that made a difference. Now we're getting a better share. That's why these players are getting, and Dak Prescott won't give me a dime. You talk about the 88 Club. You heard of that? We're all 88s from Dallas Cowboys. The 88 Club, Jerry Jones does a great job of picking 88s. If he could pick the rest of the players like he picks 88, we'd be in the Super Bowl every year, all right? Because he ain't missed yet on 88s, all right? First I had it. I started calling myself the original 88. I wasn't the original, but I'm the one that really started doing something in 88. And then here comes Michael Irvin, all right? They want to anoint him with 88. He says, Drew, is it okay? I said, Michael, it's not my number. I said, if you're going to wear it, don't do what I did in it. Do more than I did. And that's what he did. 3 Super Bowls, Hall of Fame. And then we give it to Dez Bryant, all right? Dez, don't do what we did. Do more than that. Dez did it individually. He's the Cowboys' all-time touchdown receiving leader. More than 3 Hall of Famers. He just didn't have the whole team around him to have team accomplishments. But he did it. He wore those 88s the way you're supposed to wear. And now it's CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb's doing it. And he's living up to the 88s. And we get together. We text each other. We got one honorary member of the club, Post Malone. He's an honorary member of the 88 Club because he's from right there in Dallas, and he's a big Cowboys fan, so we made him an honorary member. But you heard about the 88 Club. So here's a chronological list of signing bonuses when they got drafted. Of course, I wasn't drafted, but here's the signing bonuses for the 88 Club. First of all, you start with me, $150, all right? Then you go to Michael Irvin. When he signed, he got $10 million. When Des Bryant signed, he got $14 million signing bonus. And CeeDee Lamb just signed his new contract. He got $38 million. $38 million. They don't understand that being part of the 88 Club, they got to pay dues. They don't understand that. They need to pay me some dues, man, for starting this. But we text each other, and we stay in touch with each other, and we motivate each other. And now we're concerned about CD because it's concussion that he's going through right now. And my message to CD through our 88 text thread is that take your time. Don't rush a head injury, all right? Make sure you're fully cleared and gone through all the bells and whistles, the things that you got to do to be cleared. And so we're concerned about CD now. I had some concussions when I played, but I played through them. That's how we did back in the day. You know, now they come off the field. They took CD off the field. They take him right to a tent. You know, he's in the tent and all this stuff. You know what our protocol was? You go to the bench. They put up a finger. You say, how many fingers I got up? 1? And he got 2 up? Know what they say? Oh, that's close enough. Get your butt back in there. But they didn't have to tell us that. But CD, you know, all the guys nowadays, they try to play through the injuries, but we don't want CD to do that. But that's the 88 Club. So my signing bonus was $150, and they still aren't paying me my dues. I'm sending them notices this week.
Before we wrap up, again, Drew, we just want to thank you so much for being here, taking time out of not only your personal busy schedule, but the schedule of all this great stuff you're doing here this weekend to speak with us, all the students. But before we wrap up today, before we end, we always like to ask one final question to kind of sum up the entire day. We talked about a ton of great stuff today. I hope there was something that students can take away. But if there's one thing you want these students to walk out today, if it's the only thing they can remember, what's that one little last nugget piece of advice you want them to leave with today?
Well, we started out with talking about commitment. And then I think through that, you find out what your talent is, and you make that talent work for you. And that, you know, it sounds simple, but it's a process, and it's a tough process because you're going to be faced with challenges and adversity along that way. People are going to tell you you're not good enough and all that kind of stuff. But don't let that negative bring you down. Use that as motivation. That's my whole story. Use whatever negative people try to put on you as motivation to prove them wrong. Not necessarily proving them wrong and going back and showing them, hey, yeah, but to prove them wrong so that you can better your life and be better. If you think you're a beaten, you are. If you think you dare not, you don't. If you like to win but think you can't, it's almost a cinch you won't. If you think you lose, you're lost. For out in this world we find success begins with a fellow's will. It's all in the state of mind. If you think you're outclassed, you are. You got to think high to rise. You got to be sure of yourself before you could ever win a prize. And remember, life's battles don't always go to the stronger or faster man or woman. But sooner or later, the man or woman that wins is the man or woman that thinks they can. Do you think you can be a winner? Yes. I can't hear you. What? Yes. All right.
All right, let's give it up, Hall of Famer Drew Pearson.